Social media acts as an accelerator for disinformation, which means it spreads quickly. Here on Facebook, here on Twitter, here on WhatsApp, and here on TikTok. Here is the $555 fee that Sartori paid just for his naturalization application. Add on an extra $800 that Sartori was quoted during his search for an attorney, and your wallet hurts a lot more than losing Monopoly money. Define American has consulted on over 50 film and television projects. So just sit back, turn on your TV, and they may have consulted on one of your favorite binge-worthy TV shows, like Orange is the New Black or Superstore. That is 2% of the state's student population. He says he moved to Arizona from Mexico when he was 7. That's the argument made by numerous governments, including the city of Phoenix, against President Donald Trump in this memo to exclude undocumented migrants from the census. Because of COVID-19 and for the safety of volunteers, Puente is showing up differently this year, by car. Sharing false facts unknowingly through misinformation is problematic for democracy. But there's a subcategory that's intentionally malicious: disinformation.
The purpose of disinformation is to change people's political reactions.
Derek Bambauer is an internet law professor at the University of Arizona who studies the impact of disinformation on elections.
Latinos are very likely to be swing voters. They could easily decide the presidential election and the pending Senate elections in these states. And that means that they're both enormously valuable and also enormously attractive targets for misinformation or disinformation.
One first-time Latino voter, Fernanda Ruiz Martinez, remains in high spirits despite these information hurdles.
I went and picked up my ballot from my mailbox, and it was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like, it's finally here, you know?
But disinformation is still getting through to the Latino electorate, which represents the largest group of minority voters, at 32 million eligible citizens, according to Pew Research. One common form of suppression is creating confusion about safely voting by mail.
I was on the phone with someone and they were afraid of sending their ballot by mail. Instead of making them feel like scared about it, I told them vote early.
Social media acts as an accelerator for disinformation, which means it spreads quickly. Here on Facebook, here on Twitter, here on WhatsApp, and here on TikTok. But social media can also be used as a force for good. Ruiz Martinez is volunteering with voting groups like Mi Familia Vota and One Arizona. She creates content targeted towards youth in her community with this.
Yeah, just make it easy for them to understand the political process and don't feel overwhelmed when they see their ballot.
Bambauer believes minority voters can be disproportionately overwhelmed by the political process.
They have an understandable and historic skepticism of some of the same institutions that we are directing them to consult or to place faith in as a way of weeding out fake news from real news.
That disinformation is hard to avoid online, some of which reflects the QAnon conspiracy theories about President Trump saving America from global elites who run child sex trafficking rings. So for Ruiz Martinez, getting her community the accurate information remains the priority.
My focus here is to make sure that everyone within my community, the Latinx community, which is a very important ethnic voting bloc in this election, they get the information that they need.
Kylie Cochrane, Cronkite News. How do you define American?
My parents and I came through the Arizona desert. I am a first-generation Mexican-American, and I am very proud of my cultural background.
To be an American, it means that you come from diverse backgrounds.
3 faces, 3 different stories. These are the types of authentic stories the advocacy group Define American helps the entertainment industry tell about immigration.
At its core, Define American is working to create a narrative shift.
Elizabeth Voorhees is the Chief Strategy Officer at Define American.
And that narrative shift will ultimately create a change in perception and behavior, which can lead to the way that folks interact with immigrants in their communities.
That shift starts at the center of popular culture, television and film writing rooms, where Luis, Ulysses, and Bianca's stories are told.
Bringing in immigrants, undocumented immigrants, to the writers' rooms to help inform those stories and make sure that they're accurate and authentic.
Sarah Lowe is the director of research at Define American.
We then do a feedback loop with the research and see how that television season then played out in terms of the representation.
Define American has consulted on over 50 film and television projects. So just sit back, turn on your TV, and they may have consulted on one of your favorite binge-worthy TV shows, like Orange is the New Black or Superstore, your favorite network, like ABC or NBC, or even your favorite streaming channel, like Hulu and Netflix.
Our approach at Define American really is grounded in research. So we've been doing research with the Norman Lear Center at USC.
We analyzed all immigrant characters across the 2018 to 2019 TV season. And we also studied the impact of three major storylines from the 2018 to 2019 season that had nuanced depictions of immigrants and immigration on Madam Secretary, Orange is the New Black, and Superstore.
Compared to 2018, they found a 12% drop in the depiction of immigrant characters and crime, but it's not comparable to real world numbers.
I mean, when much of what we see on TV is portraying immigrants as criminals, it really becomes a lot easier for people to believe false claims and divisive rhetoric.
The report did find that rhetoric can change when audiences are exposed to in-depth immigrant storylines on Madam Secretary or with Superstore's undocumented character Mateo.
Among the Superstore viewers that had no real-life contact with immigrants, these feelings of friendship with Mateo were associated with support for less stringent immigration policies.
Define American actually consulted on Superstore for 4 years. After watching, audiences reported taking action around immigration issues by volunteering, talking with family, marching, or donating.
Being able to look at the type of impact that it's having, and hope for the future that building more of these characters and helping writers' rooms write characters that are really fully realized and that are really human and allowed to be human.
Kylie Cochrane, Cronkite News.